The Brenda Perryman Show is brought to you by Livingston Family Dentistry.
Livingston Family Dentistry knows that good dental care ensures overall wellness, and healthy teeth and gums can perfect your smile. With over 30 years of experience, Dr. Ronald and Dr. Blake Livingston take the time to explain every treatment. Their modern office and friendly staff are committed to making you feel comfortable, informed, and satisfied. Located at 13724 Woodward in Highland Park, call now 313-883-3050. If your teeth are not becoming to you,
then you should be coming to us.
Good morning again and welcome back. And we have all heard of the Motown Mansion, the beautiful mansion on Boston Boulevard. It's legendary in the city of Detroit and probably around the world, especially well, I was thinking of the Michael Jackson movie where they were around the pool, you know. But I'd like you to meet my next guest. They're Aaron Sapersky. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning.
And attorney Cynthia Reed,
Good
who
morning.
just sold the mansion.
I did.
You need to become my best friend. But there's so much to say. So let me kind of start with Cynthia with a little history here. Tell us how you got a chance to buy the mansion.
Well, it was just through perseverance and through research, good black girl magic, as we say. I actually lived across the street growing up with the mansion, and my parents still live there. And growing up, we always saw all of these wonderful parties and the red carpets. And when I grew up, I went away to Washington, D.C. to work, and when I came back, I went to live with my mother until I could figure out where I wanted to live in Detroit. Moved away for about 20 years, and I saw this mansion still across the street, and it looked like it was always shuttered, and the grass was cut a certain way, and the newspapers would always be stacked up a certain way every day, day after day. And so I did some research. I found out that Barry Gordy owned it, and I wrote him a letter, and I told him that I felt like a home like this needs to be part of the community. It shouldn't be shuttered. It should have life in it. It should be contributing to the community. And he contacted me and he said, I'm going to sell you this house. Over the years, I've had many people approach me about buying this home, but you're the first person that has spoken about the legacy of this home and the importance of it being a part of the community. And so he allowed me very graciously to purchase it from him. And then I spent 2 years restoring it, and I won an award for historic preservation and restoration. And then I decided to open it to the community. So we've used it for fundraising events for everything from the United Way to Big Brothers Big Sisters of Detroit, to domestic abuse shelters to support them, to scholarship programs and educational programs. And fun thing that I've been able to do is to allow members of the community to use it. I remember a young lady who was my postal carrier at the time. She said, I'd love to get married in a beautiful place like this. I've always had that dream, and I could make that dream happen for her. And so I did. And so she had the wedding of her dreams in my backyard, and I was so happy to make it happen.
Wow. I mean, how big is the house?
Well, the house sits on 2 acres in the city of Detroit, a lot of land, and the property actually consists of 3 buildings. A main house, residence house, which is about 10,000 square feet. An athletic building, which features an Olympic-sized swimming pool, bowling alley, billiards room, a gymnasium, a
Just
sauna.
regular stuff.
Exactly, which is about another 4,000. And then it has a 5-car carriage house garage that has a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment over the top of it. So that's the entire property. So you can have your own little living community within there and enjoy it.
Really, a commune. I mean, really, a commune. So did sometimes, no, that would be my crazy imagination, but I'd be there in the dark. If I was by myself, I'd be thinking of the parties that were given here. Did you think, kind of think about those things when you were in the house?
I did, but I was also often reminded about those parties. And many of the Motown artists, as you know, are still in Detroit.
Right.
And that is their second home as well. And so when you own this home, you are part of that family. So I remember we had a fundraiser for the United Way, and Miss Martha Reeves was performing at it. And she came and she goes, I know my Grammy is hidden somewhere in this house. We've got to find,
That's
just that kind of
Martha.
joking around and having a good time with it. Duke Fakir and the Tops are there. I mean, everyone comes there, and so they tell me the stories, that they do. And the house has its own history. There are lots of articles. You talked about the Jackson Five coming there. When I was a kid, I remember seeing them play in the backyard, playing golf. And they were looking to try to hit the golf balls there. So it has a 9-hole golf course on the property, and so I remember that as well. So it's got, if those walls could talk.
Oh yeah, I wish they could actually talk. Wouldn't that be funny if the walls could be talk? That'd be part of the estate sale. Everything. Oh, you could go in here and the wall talks to you.
If that happened, I wouldn't have sold it. Nobody gonna want to buy it. I'm a little nervous about that.
So you sold it when?
I sold it in August officially. It had been on the market for a couple of years, and we had a lot of false starts. The trust fund kid that wants to buy it and he finds out his trust fund doesn't allow him to buy a second house. So we had a little fits and starts, but it was always under contract with someone, and then we'd have to, they'd have a problem. But we ultimately sold it to the right person. The person's interested in music and has a background in music professionally, so it's going to be an exciting next step. And his vision is to bring music back to the mansion now that it's been restored.
Oh, really? I'm going to have to eventually interview him. And he'll be my other new best friend. Okay, Aaron, you're handling the estate sale. Why don't you tell the audience about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the estate sale, sorry.
And
the es-
louder.
No worries. The estate sale will run the 12th through the 14th at the Motown Mansion, and it'll be 10 to 4 each day. It'll be on a first come, first served basis, so the entire community is invited to come to that estate sale. We will actually be doing a Motown Detroit history auction Friday evening at the estate.
Okay, that Motown Detroit history
Right,
auction.
correct. Yeah.
What kind of items would be?
So we are selling off the personal collection of Cynthia Reeves, and inside that collection there's amazing Motown memorabilia. Barry Gordy's personal globe that has a Motown label on it.
He's had pictures of him with that globe.
Right. There's his personal, his Steinway piano that he also gifted to Cynthia. There's a lot of records, 45 records.
Oh.
There's a wedding goblet from Hazel and Jermaine's wedding
Oh,
as well.
Poor Hazel.
But
Wow.
there's a lot of Motown items.
A lot
that
of
will be
Motown
included.
items. Well, we do have some pictures of the inside of the house, and we can get those ready to show. And remember, there's the house. If you're on Facebook Live, you're unable to see these pictures.
That's my baby.
Yeah, that's your baby. That's beautiful. It's so big.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Is that the vestibule or something?
Correct. That's the front entryway and leading off into the living room area of the house.
Oh, just
That's the library.
Wow.
There's the globe that's
Yeah.
featured.
and that
in
will
there.
be auctioned off.
Yes,
Correct.
it will be.
Wow, nice.
So beautiful woodwork that's in the mansion. That's the pool house, and so that's the area where there's dancing and everything. And then the pool is behind the white benches that you see there. Has a cover over it now. That's the sunroom. And what's interesting about that is that light fixture is actually a bird cage kind of fixture with birds in it, not live birds, but ceramic birds that match the walls. That's the Steinway piano that we talked about, and
That'll
that's
be
the-
auctioned.
It will be auctioned as part of the estate sale.
Yeah.
And there we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that piano, I mean, Steinways are expensive anyway, but that particular Steinway,
Yeah, who knows?
Who
knows?
knows?
And that's part of the idea in the auction is you going into each house that we go into, you have to figure out what is the best way to liquidate the contents here in the right way. And so with the pieces that Cynthia has, it doesn't make sense to just open it up and put a price on everything, because how do you put a price on that? You have
On
to
history.
yeah, you have to let the market decide, and you have to give everybody a chance. To put it first come first serve, put a price tag on it, doesn't make sense. So that's why we're really looking forward to having the online auction as well as the live auction at the mansion.
Wow, that should be very interesting. I maybe could get one of those matchbooks. There's some Motown matchbooks, aren't
Right,
there?
right.
Well, that's one of the things that I love about this auction. Again, my philosophy is to try to have the mansion accessible to the community. I mean, it's really belongs to the city of Detroit, in my opinion. And if you live there, you understand what it means to the city, the local kid who made good and became an icon. And so I've come home from work with school kids on my front porch taking photographs. The school bus stopped, and they, took. I remember this day because I just planted roses the week before, and they trampled all the roses. But they were so excited, and so I took a moment and talked to them about, yes, Motown is wonderful. And we have these musicians who are famous. I said, but there's more to Motown. I said, Mr. Gordy was a businessman. So there's opportunities for people who are lawyers and engineers and as well as entertainers. So it's not just the front of the mic, but everyone behind the mic that does
Right.
the important work. But at Motown, you know how we go. We go big or we go home. And
Right,
so
right.
larger than life is just the right size. And what I love about this is that we do have things, everything from a matchbook covers that have Motown in it, that I found a box of matchbooks, to the Steinway. But we're going to have our artists there. The Motown artists will be visiting us
Hear
during
that,
the estate
everybody?
sale.
Yes.
And they will be available to autograph items that are being purchased to make instant collectibles. So you can take that little matchbook cover, walk around the corner, and Mr. Duke Fakir can sign it for you, and you can put it away, and maybe it'll pay for your kid's college education one day. You never know
What
it'll
days
do.
will the celebrities be there?
They will be there on Thursday, October 12th, and Friday the 13th. For sure. We haven't decided if we're going to make Saturday available, so we don't want to announce that. But
Right.
they're definitely going to be there the 13th. And we have everyone from, members of the Four Tops, the Vandellas, members of the Funk Brothers will be there.
Contours.
The Contours. We have all of these artists who are joining to, make sure that people get something that's special because it means so much. And the little things all the way up to the Steinway.
You guys are young. But back in the day, I was a kid, a teenager at the height of everything. And it was just, you knew you were special because Motown was in your city.
Right.
And my older brother lived in New York. And when I go to New York and I meet teenagers, they said, "Do you know Motown? Do you know where that was?" Well, I took the Dexter bus, and I passed Motown all the time,
yeah.
I said, "Oh, I see them standing out there." I mean, I was a little bit crazy to do that. But you would see them standing outside of Hitsville.
Great.
And you'd also, I've told the story on the show before, but me and my boyfriend, we were in the car at the light on Davison and Dexter, and pulls up right next to us is a Cadillac, and it had the little glasses on it, and it was David Ruffin, and I was looking like, "Get me out of this car, I want to come in the car with you," I mean, but we would see them different places,
Right,
and
right.
of course be able to access them because they performed a lot in Detroit.
Absolutely, and it's wonderful, and they're still here, and they're still wanting to be part of the community and embrace the community, and that's what, I feel like this is a great way, full circle, to bring the mansion to the close in terms of my transition of it, to be able to open it and allow people to see what's going on, and to be able to be part of the excitement of the sale and be able to walk away with part of it, and the fact that the artists were so excited to share themselves to make it, something for the community,
For the community.
adds to it to me.
Because that's a certain big pride that we take
Absolutely.
here in Detroit.
Absolutely.
Because Motown started here and it grew and grew. And it is, I was watching the Global concert the other night and Stevie was on. And I remember when Stevie was 12 and he made fingertips. And then they would put Stevie up on a counter at the local record shop, my local record shop, and everybody go past and we all shake Stevie's hand, little hand and our little hands, and it was just so wonderful. And the Supremes, seeing the Supremes and Martha and the Vandellas, and seeing the fact that they were like role models for us on dressing, seriously,
Right,
you know,
exactly.
and there was so much, and the men just dressed so well. I got to hold myself down when I talk about that. But
Right, right.
as you know,
I remember when I had finished the restoration, Barry Gordy came to visit Detroit. He wanted to stop by and say hello to me at the mansion and see how the restoration came through. And he came with the entourage, and my mother was there, and she's an educator. And, they all come through. I'm, Mr. Gordy's attorney, I'm his accountant, I'm his publicist. And then the last person, Barry Gordy, and she's being very,
Cool.
very, everything. Last person comes through wearing a white cowboy hat, white shirt, button down crisp, blue jeans, boots, Smokey Robinson.
oh my God.
Exactly. She melted. Just that scene to be able to see them. Those stars still have their appeal. Let me tell you.
Oh, they do. Smokey looks great.
They all do.
Wait, Barry looks great because
They all
a few
do.
months ago at the Motown, the musical,
Right.
he was coming down the aisle. And I kind of took his hand. I said, God, his hands are softer than mine. And he looks great for his age.
All of the artists
Right.
look great. It's a different kind of training that they went through. Motown had the school for etiquette
Right.
for them, and they present themselves in a certain way across the board. These are ladies and gentlemen, that are entertainers. Whenever you have a chance to speak to them, Duke Fakir, Martha Reeves, they're so well spoken, so professional in
right.
what they do,
Right.
and they've always been professional, consummate artists, as you will. And so
I guess that was the thing because when they'd be on television, on the national shows, of course, we watched then also, and they'd be on there and they just, they spoke well, they sang, they entertained. You couldn't take your eyes off of them.
Right, right.
And it just kind of made you feel like you were part of this national
something to be
movement.
proud of.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because I always said we had them first.
Right,
Yes.
we did. We have them last too. We have
Oh,
them
yes,
at all times.
yes,
Their
yes.
home is here in Detroit, and they all know that.
Yes, because, and we were talking about this earlier, the fact that Detroit has so much talent,
Absolutely.
so much talent that you could put them all in this little house, record them,
Yeah.
all those recording sessions a day, and so forth.
And that's amazing that you speak of that because when we're looking at items in the auction, for example, there is actually organizational charts from the Supremes tour. And so
Oh.
you see how well they were establishing and putting everything together.
And there were a lot of people in the background
Yeah.
to do that, because I've talked to some of them who kept the what is it, anthology, the records and all of this stuff. They kept it. They wrote down everything,
Yes.
and that was great. That part of everything is the organization. So
Absolutely. And we have such, almost in doing this and in discovering these things at the mansion, it's been like a time capsule
Yes.
going back, and we see these magazine articles, and we see just the care. I mean, there's one piece that Aaron's team found in the house I didn't even know was there. It was a mock-up for an album cover, and it was just to the detail
Hand-drawn.
where it's
Yeah.
handwritten of the things. I think it was basically a compilation album, and so they had squares for the albums, and then they had actually taken the time to cut the albums out, little miniatures, so that they could show where
Really?
they wanted it. So that's a presentation he put together. Is very pretty of it, but it shows just the kind of detail, things that you wouldn't have think. We've uncovered 8mm movies. Just kind
Really?
of
There's some pretty incredible
slideshows,
things that are
photographs,
going to be
all
shown.
kinds of things that were just left there. And as he said, even the wedding goblet, some certificates and things like that. It's just very interesting. In and of themselves, they are a story. One of the things that I decided to keep for myself were a series of letters that I found with a young lady who was living at the house during the riots, and she was writing letters to her family, and I just thought it was just such an interesting. There was a story there, just in that. I envision a musical.
a
something
musical,
like
a movie,
Exactly.
or screenplay.
that. Absolutely.
You're a theater person. I always tell people theater people go into law. I know Jeffrey Feiger was theater. One of my former students, Tiffany McEvans, she was drama, but in fact, she walked into my drama class one day and she said, I'm telling you all, take drama because you could be an attorney. I just want a case because of it, And that was great training. But I think that there are a million stories that could come out of that anyway. And to have the house, and I mean, it's just going to be simply fabulous. And for people to come to the Motown house.
Right, exactly.
Well, the Gordy Mansion, it's going to always, in a way, be the Gordy Mansion, don't you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can't get away from the history that's there. It's always going to be there.
So, okay, let's do this again, Aaron. It's
Yes.
October
So it's October 12th through the 14th.
12th through the 14th.
That's when the estate sale is. The auction is October 13th. The doors open at 5 o'clock, and people do have to register for the auction to be able to come
Now,
into the
there's a website that's going up today, right?
So the website's going to go up on Monday,
Monday.
October 3rd.
You told me it was
I know. I was like, maybe we'll give a couple more days.
Okay.
But yeah, so the website that will be going up on our website, aaron'sestatesales.com, will have all of the auction items. You will be able to register for the auction and pre-bid.
Oh, yeah, because with those auctions like they do on television, people are calling in or they're
absolutely.
pre-bidding
Well,
on
with
it.
the internet now, they can starting Monday, people
Yep.
can start bidding Monday, and then we'll close the bidding on the 13th. And you can also find links at MotownMansion.com
Right.
that links you to the website for Aaron's website to get on. It has photographs of everything, and it'll tell you a little bit about the items that you're bidding on, and you can go ahead and bid.
Well, things are like magic. A funk brother just walked into the studio.
Small
Look at
world.
that.
Small world.
Amazing.
So, listen,
great.
everybody, MotownMansion.com. You can find that. You can find information about Aaron's estate.
Aaron's estate sales.
Aaron's estate sales, and that's double A, Ron. Remember? So you can find out about that. I'm going to get a matchbook. I'm going to bid $1 and so forth. But thank you so much, and we're
Thank
going to
you.
rerun this show a million times, and hopefully,
appreciate it.
well, I might get it to Mr. Gordy. Let him see it.
There you go.
go.
That'd
Yeah,
be
because
fantastic.
he has. I mean, it started there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much
My
for having us
pleasure.
on and allowing us to talk about the sale and about the mansion, a mansion that we all love in the city of Detroit.
All love. And ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. And you'll keep hearing it here because this is WHPR. We run things over and over and over. Thank you so much. And remember, you have to come back about that other thing.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
We're going to make a little thing out of that.
There you
okay?
go. Sounds
Great.
good. Stay
Thank you. It
tuned,
was a
folks.
pleasure.
No problem.
All
So
right. Take care.
we'll be back in just a few moments with Table Talk. And I have McKinley Jackson and Mr. Paul Reiser.